So what did that footage have to do with a career-defining, important moment for me? What does Transformers 3 and weddings have to do with anything? Well, I'll get there in a sec. What I really want to do with today's video is encourage you. If you've had a bad year or a crazy year, like I think most people have with everything going on, I just want to encourage you. It's funny enough that I'm wearing my optimism shirt, which wasn't planned, but I want to talk a bit about my career today and kind of the journey I've been on, these terrible moments where I find myself in a valley in my proverbial career landscape, and how they've actually been kind of some of the best moments for me in what comes next. So where do we begin with this? Well, let's go back to 2010 when I graduated film school. And to get through film school, I had to pay for it. And I did that by shooting weddings. I also made some terrible films in film school. Like this, my first documentary, Milking It.
Promise me! Promise me! What are you doing here?
Yes, that was me.
Promise me!
And yes, that was a big bucket of milk.
You promised 3 times!
You have to see the film to understand it, and I'm not going to tell you where the film is hidden out on the internet. You're welcome to go find it. I almost regret just saying that out loud. But in second year college, I was narcissistic enough to put myself in my own documentary.
First, the screen was silent.
Then it talked.
Then color.
Now the greatest advance of them all, the picture floats off the screen.
So graduating film school, I did an internship in 3D filmmaking. The kind where you put on the glasses, you get a left camera to your left eye, a right camera to your right eye, and everything turns 3D. And it was really exciting, but I was just so used to shooting weddings, I didn't know how to really transition out of that. I got really comfortable having an income photographing and videoing weddings. It was how I knew how to make money, and I didn't really make the transition into the film industry because I was afraid I wasn't gonna make a living. But then one day I got a phone call from Chicago, and it was a producer asking me to work on a small film called Transformers 3. Now you see there's a scene in that film where there's people skydiving and there was a special 3D camera that they needed to use. And it just so happened that I had done an internship where I used that camera a lot, and there wasn't many people who knew how to use it. It was this SI2K 3D system. So I was asked to come on set and kind of work that camera for them. But there was one problem. I had to shoot a wedding the same weekend they asked me to come on set. So you can imagine this. Here I am out of college. My first gig I've been offered is for Transformers. And here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, Mark, why didn't you just take the job and say no to the wedding? Well, it's a tough thing to tell a bride 2 weeks out before her wedding that she no longer has a photographer. So I had to do the right thing in that situation, and I stayed on and I shot the wedding. There was kind of no option for me to go shoot Transformers. And this was a low point. I felt really awful, like I just missed the biggest opportunity in my career. But something special happened in that moment. I realized very painfully that I had to quit weddings, that I had to take the next step in my career and be available full-time for the thing I was dreaming of, which was working in the industry and working at that time in 3D. So I did. I remember I even did a picture on my blog spot at the time saying I'm quitting weddings today. I said it out loud. Wasn't that anything is wrong with shooting weddings. They're a great career. But I knew I wanted to do something different at that time. And by making myself available, some doors really started opening for me in 3D. Before I knew it, I was one of the youngest stereographers in Canada in the union doing 3D stereography on set. And what stereography is, you're just essentially there to manage the 3D aspects of the two cameras and the beam splitter with the cinematographer and that whole team, making sure the 3D looks the best. And this was exciting. I got to work on some amazing films like Flight of the Butterflies, traveling to Mexico, seeing all these butterflies, and helping shoot that in 3D. 3D, working on a crazy Korean dance film, my first feature film that I got to work on. The opportunity seemed endless. I couldn't keep up with the work. It was so exciting. One of the coolest parts of it was we got to do a presentation for the Queen of England. When she came to Canada, I got to work with the amazing director Deepa Mehta. A group of us filmmakers presented this big dance thing in 3D, and I got to meet her and talk to her for like 30 seconds about how 3D works, and I think I was chewing gum and it was a big faux pas, but it was an incredible experience. But then 2 years into that, something happened. Companies started shooting 2D and converting it into 3D in post, and I quickly lost all of my work almost overnight. Two of the biggest 2D to 3D conversion companies came to Toronto and wiped out all of the stereography jobs overnight. They brought like 200 or 300 employees here, and next thing you knew, I had no work. And that made 2013 the toughest year of my career yet, where I had zero work. I went into debt. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt like I should just quit filmmaking. I wondered why I even went to film school. I was pretty depressed. I spent a lot of time doing two things, running and praying. Running helped keep me distracted. Praying helped me kind of work through some of the stress I had. And I realized one thing, you should never ask God why something happened. You should ask him what you're supposed to be learning, because you'll never understand why things happen. They just happen sometimes. But long story short, I started just having to shoot again. Just shoot whatever I could. Whether it was a corporate gig or shooting for any company I could help out with, I just started putting myself out there because I needed to pay for my rent. And I got this one opportunity to help shoot for an aid organization down in Haiti. And this was for free pretty much. The job required me going down there for 2 weeks, filming them building a school on top of this mountain in Cap-Haïtien, Haiti, and then coming back and editing that project. And what was really cool with that project is it led to some more work. What was funny about that too is I didn't own a camera at the time. So I actually bought a camera, went further into debt, and any money I made on that project went towards me owning gear so I could actually finish the project. And then once I put that film online, another organization asked me to come shoot for them. And so I shot this film for Boston Pizza Foundation about the work they were doing. And then that led to me shooting some more work. And then I was able to build a demo reel. And just through some circumstances, I was able to get that demo reel in front of Adam Agoyan, who's an amazing Academy Award nominated Canadian film director. And he is a kind person, and he actually asked me to shoot the Splinter Unit, some extra shots for his film Remember with Christopher Plummer. And this was an incredible opportunity. I remember being so stressed for it. It felt like suddenly being from one of the lowest points in my career, I was doing the thing that I had always dreamed of, which was doing cinematography for a feature film. And looking back at everything, I don't think I would have changed a thing. You see, that tough year in 2013 where I had no work, that was one of the most important years for my career because it forced me to start shooting. And by shooting, I started creating a reel. And by creating a reel, I could start getting hired as a director. And I started discovering my passion again for documentary filmmaking. You're going to have dark moments. You're going to have these deep, deep valleys where you don't think you can get out of it. And maybe you're in one of these seasons right now, and I'm sure it's difficult. I don't know what you're going through, but I'm sure it's tough, and I'm sure you want it to be over. But I'll stop there because I don't want to say that I'm sorry for you. And that's not to say what you're going through doesn't suck. But this could be the turning point for some of the biggest opportunities in your career, in you learning about yourself, in the relationships around you. These are the moments that define us. So if you're in the midst of this season, I want to tell you it can get better. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get better before it gets worse, but these can be defining moments for us. You know, I think of my film Rescate, and I talk about it a lot on this channel, but that's because it is such a personal film for me. My best friend was working down in Haiti in Dominican, and he was actually the one who gave me that job on that project in Haiti. One day he was flying back from Haiti after delivering aid supplies there after a hurricane, and unfortunately the plane he was in went down in the ocean. It crashed, and he was never found. When I got the phone call about this, I immediately got on a plane and I went down to the Dominican where the plane crash had happened. I didn't know what I was trying to do there. I just knew I wanted to be around the people who were close with him and who his life had touched. But something incredible happened on that trip. I met a group of paramedics who were out there trying to find any wreckage or survivors from the plane crash. This group of paramedics were Rescate Ambar, and I was so inspired by their selfless service to their country, the volunteer work they did, the fact that at that time in Dominican, they were the only 911 across the whole northern part of the island. If you got in a car accident or had an emergency, they were your only option, and they did it all volunteer, non-government funded. Their story inspired me, which then led me to creating my film, Rescate, about their efforts in that country. Creating that film about Rescate, we were able to help provide resources and bring down training in an amazing organization called Firefighters Without Borders, who is able to help Rescate. I would trade anything in this world to have my friend Cole back with us now. But that doesn't mean that good things can't come from really, really crappy situations. So for you, whatever you're facing right now, no matter how dark it is, it could be the loss of a friend, a family member, it could be the fact that your career just feels like it's crumbling before you. This is an opportunity to learn, to ask, what can I learn in this season? Who can I become through this? I try not to ever ask why, because that just sends me into a dark place, kind of a bit of depression when I try to figure out how everything is connected. But I know that I can be present in this moment and learn from it and grow from it. So no matter what is happening for you right now, I'm believing that it can be an incredible turning point for you in your life and with your community and what you're doing in your career. Hope you guys like this one. We didn't talk much about cameras today, but that's kind of refreshing. Life is more than just what gear you're using or what you're shooting or what you're filming. Life is about the people around you. My dad's always said this to me, that when you see a funeral procession, it's never U-Haul trucks full of, stuff and awards and just things. It's cars. It's cars full of friends and family. It's the people around you that you leave what you've built in your life with. So, what are you investing your life into? See you guys in the next one.